It's Harvey Webb. He's back, and this time he's. Oh wait, I did that joke on the other video. It's people are responding. This is great. Yeah, back in the day of YouTube, it used to be like this, where a theist would make a video and a non-theist would respond, and there'd be a back and forth conversation with videos, and that may or may not lead into a thing where they try to figure out how to record a thing together. Now it's a lot easier. We can, say, hey, let's email each other and get on StreamYard together and have a talk. And maybe we'll do that. Don't know. But he made a response, so I have to respond to the response and hopefully not take an hour to do so. And last time I showed my face. This time I showed my avatar because my face is tired. So he calls this video, "Is God Real?" which is interesting. Not sure why. I'm just going to kind of, I don't know if I'm going to skip around or what I'm going to do here. But I'm going to play parts and then respond to what needs to be responded to that I think needs to be responded to. Yeah.
The converted man, I'll put the channel on screen here. He had some interesting counter arguments to why my points were wrong in the original video. And we only learn and change our opinions through debating each other. So I thought I'd react to his video and go over what parts I thought were interesting and how I would counter some of his points as well. Before we get into this video, believe whatever you want to believe. It's completely...
Okay, so he's responding to my past video where I said, the idea that belief is a choice is something I've come across before. And his response to that is
comparing the complex argument of religion to whether he is a lobster. This analogy is really interesting because I think they're completely different things. Religion has been believed for thousands of years and is based off some evidence that you may not want to accept. But there.
Okay, so what evidence do you think religion, and again, I wish you would be specific on which religion you're speaking of. It can't be all of them. So, let's just make it about your religion then, if we're going to do that. Otherwise, I don't know what you're talking about. So I don't know what evidence you're referring to that it's based on. I'd like you to cite that. What evidence is there, do you think? What kind of evidence is there? Where did we find that evidence? How can we verify that evidence, and so on and so forth? Is it testable? Is it demonstrably demonstratable? Is it empirical? Is it, what is it? Is it historical? Is it philosophical? What is it? Present that. Because last time you just presented reasons why you believe in God that I said those are bad reasons. And now you're saying something that you think is true, and I'm saying prove that that's true. But okay, he misses the point of the choice thing. Belief, thousands of years. Well, people have been practicing various religions for a lengthy period of time, but you as an individual haven't. You as an individual have been practicing religion for however long you've done that, perhaps a few years, perhaps, as far back as you can remember. And was it your choice? Well, probably not. In most people's cases, the religion of their parents is their religion. Not in all cases, but in the majority of cases, that's what we see. If you're born in the Muslim country with Muslim parents, the likelihood is you're going to be a Muslim. And if you're, born in the West with Western parents who are Catholic, you're probably going to be Catholic, and so on and so forth. And fair enough. Hey, if you're born to atheist parents, you're probably going to be an atheist. Now, there's, of course, exceptions to that, but it's a broad brushstroke of what we would expect to see. So you didn't choose that belief starting out. It was kind of chosen for you by your parents. But at some point, you gain the cognitive abilities to make a decision about whether or not you're going to stay with your religion or leave it for some other religion or what have you. And in one church I went to, there was a gal that had chosen Christianity for whatever reasons, and her parents had disowned her because they didn't accept her leaving their religion. And we all thought that was pretty interesting, and I felt kind of bad that her parents would do that. But I've also seen people do that when Christians leave their faith. That I've seen and heard of people that their parents abandoned them because they left Christianity. So it's not unique to other religions. It seems that this can happen to anybody. So there's a risk in leaving your religion to a different religion or leaving it completely. There's a social risk involved. There's a personal risk involved. And that's not even talking about the fact that your brain is going to fight you on it, because your brain has gotten used to the religion that you have. You've made an investment in time and energy into these things. So you have mental reasons why continuing is easier than leaving. There's a phenomenon called the sunken cost. And so you might wonder, why would someone go to Vegas and bet a whole bunch of money and lose that money and then bet a whole bunch more money? Well, they've already wasted a lot of money, so now they've got to win it back. And now they've got to win that back. And now they've got to... And so you also see this in, like, say, large marketing corporations, where people get sucked into these basically a scam business where if you sell our product, you'll make all this money, but you never make that much money. And they continue to lose money, believing that eventually they'll make money, eventually they'll come out on top somehow, but it never works. The only people that get rich are the people at the very top, and you're never going to be one of those people in all likelihood. But you have the sunk cost of believing that if you just spend more time and energy on it, then you'll come out in the end. So there's cognitive reasons why you would stick to any given belief system. So it's very hard to transfer to a different religion or to a different non-religion, because your brain's going to fight you on it. So you cannot instantly decide, I'm not a Christian, I'm now Catholic. Now, maybe you could, because Catholic and Christian, Protestant Christian, or Protestant Catholic, very close. But I'm Jewish from Protestant. Very hard to make that. Maybe not as hard, but, become Hindu. You can't just do that. It's going to take time and energy to do it. So my point about choosing to believe in God, I can't just do that. I need evidence. Once presented with the evidence, then I don't even have a choice. I have to believe the evidence. So that's my point there.
There is a firm foundation for religion, whereas belief that you're a lobster just doesn't make sense. And of course, religion is a choice either way. You choose not to believe in God, and I wouldn't want you to believe in God unless you 100% wanted to. I want everyone to believe whatever conclusion they have personally come to.
And that's where we differ. I don't want people to come to any conclusion. I want people to come to conclusions based on empirical evidence, repeatable tests, or a valid and sound argument.
Yes, of course, religion is a choice because it's an undefinitive argument. We have no way of knowing for sure if God is real, and it's down to personal belief and what you believe from the evidence we have on both sides. I think it's quite simple for me to say, yes, you should believe whatever you want to believe based off the evidence. For example, a viewer watching this right now, I present my side of the argument, you present your side of the argument, and they choose what side they want to believe in. Would you want it to be that everyone has to believe one thing and you can't?
I would want everyone to believe what is empirically verifiable, repeatedly testable, or at least has a sound argument for it. I don't want people to believe in things just because it sounds good, seems to be nice, feels good, whatever. I don't want people just believing stuff out of whimsy And you seem to touch on that a little bit by saying, yeah, decide on evidence, but there's not enough oomph placed on evidence for my personal taste.
Can't say religion isn't a choice because it's not a clear-cut thing. Religion is more about belief than knowledge and evidence. It's your own personal right to believe whatever you want to believe. Anyone who hasn't chosen a side can go to whatever they want to believe or not even pick a side if they don't want to. For as long as you can't prove the argument either way, yes, religion is a choice. I personally have been learning.
So, if you can't prove that religion is true, then why be part of it? And again, I kind of wish he'd just say what religion he's talking about, but yeah, why be part of something that you can't prove true? Now, again, there's many possible answers to that, but as I pointed out last time, your previous answers weren't very good, and I was hoping you'd come up with better answers. And we'll skip over this a bit. He just responds to him studying religion point that I brought up, and he admits that, in fact, he hasn't studied religion. I don't know why he said he studied religion when he hasn't studied religion, but that's what he said last time, so I would say just be careful with your choice of words, perhaps. So we'll skip over that. Although he does make a couple of good points that, how, the amount of time that one could spend on it could be quite a lengthy time. Yeah, well.
And things. So you can always gain something from someone with less experience, no matter what. Okay, so the first reason I believe in God is kind of a weird one. But basically.
Okay, let's see if we can get to the next point here. Saying I don't want to see my face again.
Advantageous, even if God wasn't real, if I believe that God is real. The reason I made that point and purposefully put it at the start of the video is because it helped convert me to faith. Later in the video, I don't know if it was in that clip, but he says that prayer is a waste of time if God's not real. He said, why would I want to waste my time praying if something's not real? By having this kind of mindset that every religious practice is a gamble, and if God's not real, every religious practice is a waste of time. This kind of mindset leads people away from religion because they think that...
Good. I hope so. I don't want people to be part of religion, broadly speaking. I find very few religions that are worth time or trouble that people invest in them. The few practices that religion engage in that could be positive for humans, you don't need religion to practice those. Prayer is an example of that. You don't need prayer. You can meditate. Prayer serves the exact function of meditation. So you don't need to pray and believe that by praying that's going to change the outcome of any given event. You can instead meditate, and you gain all the benefits without any beliefs in something that you can't verify. So I don't know if I said it in my last video or not, but I would say here, just to make sure, what things can I, as a non-believer, not do that you as a believer can do? What things as a believer can you engage in that I, as a non-believer, couldn't? What thing is in religion that has some benefit that I can't gain without having some sort of religion? And my go-to quip would be donating 10% to the church, because I'm certainly not going to do that. But other than that, there is no beneficial thing that any religion could possibly offer that we can't do without religion. And by making this a broad thing of religion, rather than focusing on specific religion, I have to also include things like Buddhism, Jainism, and I guess cults. So, it's kind of a problem. We need to make it a specific religion that we're talking about. But whatever.
If they waste their time doing these practices and God's not real, they don't have definitive proof that he's real. So if they waste their time, then they're wasting earthly time and God might not be real. But when I start...
Yeah, Right. You might be wasting your time. Now, it's your time to waste in whatever way you want to, but yeah, you shouldn't do that if it indeed is a waste of time. So rather than just say, I think it's true, well, you need good reasons to think it's true. And I don't think that you had those last time, and I don't think that you have them this time either.
Started to think that every single one of these practices has benefits physically on earth, even if God's not real. That is what made me start doing these practices and start getting closer to God, because I realized that there's no part of it that's a gamble. Every religious practice has so much importance and so many benefits. And
every religion's practice has some sort of benefits. This just highlights your lack of any study of any other religion other than perhaps your own, which you've already admitted that you really didn't study. You've just been basically reading the Bible and thinking about stuff. You haven't looked into any other religion at all, so you don't know what practices they have. There are people that dance with snakes. Is that a good practice? Yes or no? I think no, because you're going to get bit by the snake, and people often are bit by the snakes, and some of them die. And what is it, Jehovah's Witnesses or Mormons? I forget which one, or Latter-day Saints. One of those people don't believe in blood transfusions. Is that a good practice? And a lot of people have died because of that. Is that a good practice? The Jewish people have circumcision. Is that a good practice? Is that a necessary thing to do? Now, if you're a Jew and you want to do it, fine. But if it's done to you because of religion, is that a good thing? You were a baby when it was done. You didn't get to say that you wanted it done or not. So is that a good practice? In Chinese traditional medicine, which could be counted as a religion, there are many practices that they have. Like, I don't know, poking needles in you. Is that a good practice? So I don't think that you know all the religions out there to be able to quantitably say that they all have good practices, because certainly many of them do not have good practices.
If I was an atheist, I'd still try and live by the laws of Christianity. Even though I 100% believe God is real, I think this point is still very important, because we don't.
Okay, I don't know what laws of Christianity you're talking about. There are 613 laws in the Old Testament. Are you sure you want to live by those laws? Because I can tell you right now, you're breaking several of them. So I guess we need to drag you to the edge of town and stone you to death, because you're living by those laws, right? Or you didn't mean those, right? You didn't mean those. So you must mean different laws of Christianity, which I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, marrying 9-year-olds. Yeah, that's an idea that the Islam. What's it? The religion of peace. Yeah, they have that idea. That's a great idea. Yeah, sure. Whatever.
Don't have definitive proof. And so I was just trying to suggest the mindset that things like prayer aren't a waste of time. You're spending time being reflective, you're spending time being critical, you're spending time off technology and thinking about your life.
Yeah, that's called meditation. I have no problem with meditation. The problem is in believing in prayer as a thing that will affect other people. That has not been shown to be a thing through metadata studies of it. So if you want to just pray to worship and take time out or whatever, fine. As long as you don't add beliefs to that aren't grounded in reality, that's okay. I don't see the point in praying to a thing that I can't be sure of is there, but meditation in and of itself is fine. You don't need to add prayer to meditation to make it work, though.
Spending time being humble, and the boundaries of religion are very strict, and that's not a bad thing at all. In religion, if you're lazy, it's a sin. In religion, if you're rude, it's a sin. Religion keeps us in a strict boundary. But the main...
Which religion? Again, you're You're playing with religion instead of saying Christianity. But not in every version of Christianity would that even be true. And certainly not in every religion would this be true either. These are ideas that might be true in your version of your particular religion.
The point of that argument was not to say to be a Christian because it gives you success on earth, but more to say that it isn't a gamble to invest time into knowing God and practicing your faith. I'm not saying it should be a core reason that you believe God is real, but I was almost trying to show to people that, yes, you should start practicing religion because there's no downsides. Suggesting
there's plenty of downsides to plenty of religions, as already pointed out. By saying religion, you open the can of worms to every single religion that's out there, and you have zero idea what religions are out there because you haven't studied them. And if you said Christianity specifically, okay, at least you've looked into that to some degree, but you just don't know what you're speaking of, and that leads you to say things that are not going to be true.
it's a waste of time could lead people away from faith. But when you start to understand how many successful people are religious, and you kind of
okay, anybody can be successful whether they're religious or not. It's irrelevant. It doesn't show that religion is true, nor does it show that it's false. It doesn't tell us anything. And which religion? Depends. Some people are Jewish, some people are Christian, some people are something else, whatever. It doesn't necessarily mean that that thing is true. So it doesn't prove the thing one way or the other. So what we need to focus on is it true? Is religion, which religion, I don't know, but is it true? Well, we need to narrow down because saying is religion true is kind of a weird thing to say. We need to say, is X religion, where X represents the variable of what religion you want to talk about, true? And then we can have that discussion.
suggested religion will hold you back if God's not real by saying prayer is a waste of time if God's not real. Well, actually, it's the opposite. Even if God wasn't real, you still benefit from religion, and it's definitely not going to hinder you. There are plenty.
In what way are you going to be benefited from believing in something that's not true? In what way is that going to benefit you? If you believe that prayer will get you $1,000 to pay rent, and you pray and you don't get the $1,000 and you wind up getting kicked out of your place because you didn't pay rent, did that benefit you? No. And you can say, well, that's not how prayer works. But if somebody believed that that was how prayer works because their religion told them that, well, you said there's no downside. But that's clearly wrong.
Plenty of billionaires who are religious. There are plenty of athletes who are religious.
By the way, there's absolutely nothing wrong with having your own personal satisfaction raised by knowing that you made the change. You found the job. You did the hard work. God didn't do diddly squat as far as we can tell.
Look at Alexander Usyk. After beating Fury, what did he do? He didn't go and be arrogant. He didn't attribute his success and his win to his own skills. Even though he had to do the training, he had the humble mindset that all his success was from God.
That doesn't negate my point. That any individual attributes anything to any god doesn't make that act noble, in my view. I would attribute it to myself. Thank you to my trainer who stuck with me hours on end, helping me to train, telling me what exercises to do. Thank you to the people who paid for my gym membership. List them out. Thank you to those who stood by my side while I was doing this hard work. And thank you to me, I accomplished this. Oh, that's not humble. Screw being humble. You deserve it. You did the hard work. You can be a little boasty at that point. Look at me. Now, is there ways to do it that will turn off people? Yeah, that's a social thing, but hey, there's nothing wrong with it. Hey, look at what I've accomplished. Look at this. This is amazing. And if you want to point at people, hey, look at Arnold Schwarzenegger. Who did he thank for his muscles? Himself. He didn't thank God. So, we could do that all day long. It doesn't matter, though. I just don't see a value in thinking a thing that you can't prove is a thing. But you can thank people that you absolutely can prove, including yourself. And I don't see there's anything wrong with that. And maybe you do, and I can't change your view on that, but hopefully you'll change that view over time.
Whether it's God or your circumstances that allowed you to achieve success, the aspect of religion where you give everything to God is not a bad thing. You'll become.
Well, if he had given everything to God, then he wouldn't be a boxer because he wouldn't have anything. He wouldn't have shoes. He wouldn't have clothes. He wouldn't. Okay, so obviously you're not giving everything to God unless you want to become a monk. You could do that. Go be a Tibetan monk. They give up everything. Now they get clothes from the church, and then they go beg for money for the church, and that's it. The rest of their days are occupied by prayer and cleaning the place that they live in, and preparing food, and yeah, I mean, if that's what you want to do, okay, but like if everyone did that, nothing would get done in the world, would it?
Becoming more humble, and you're understanding that you are only given this success because of your situation, and you say it's okay to attribute your success to yourself. I don't think that is okay, because I believe in God, and I think that God gave you all that success.
You can think God gave you that success, but you earned it if you earned it. Now maybe you inherited the success from your parents or whatever, or maybe you lucked out and befriended somebody that became successful and they brought you along with them. Any number of things could happen, but you want to attribute it to God. I can't stop you from doing that, obviously. I don't think that there's anything wrong to being proud of what you've achieved. And I would say that even some Christians would tell you that you can be happy with what you've succeeded uh, to some degree, depending on which Christian, of course. Because again, it's a grab bag of ideas.
So all that success and glory should go to God. But even if you don't think that, this is where I'm saying again that being a Christian isn't a bad thing in that example as well. Because being humble and attributing your success to something other than yourself, which could be your circumstance for an atheist, isn't a bad thing. It teaches you.
Well, it might be your circumstance. What you wrote on screen is either way attributing to success to yourself doesn't make sense. Absolutely, it does. It absolutely makes sense. You're the one that put in the work. Why shouldn't you receive the praise for it from others and yourself? Now, if you don't want to do that, that's fine. I mean, there have been people that they ran into the burning building and they saved the kid, and they're like, I was just doing what I thought was right. I was just doing my job. Maybe they were a firefighter. I'm not a hero, and some people are that way. Others are like, yeah, I'm awesome. It's amazing. I ran in there. I'm pretty cool. And whether it's good or bad or whatever, well, that's somewhat subjective. So I guess we're both tentatively wrong on this, which means nobody is right, which means technically I'm right. Well, kind of, I guess. I don't know. Moving on.
You to be humble, and it teaches you to be grateful. We also have a holy book, the Bible, that didn't just come around by coincidence.
The Bible did. Okay, so at this point in the video, I'd been doing the stream for like an hour, so I started to lose my mind. And whenever I lose my mind, that means lobsters are going to get involved. So you all know what's coming. You all should know what's coming. Didn't come around by coincidence. Well, I don't know. I don't know anymore how to explain how wrong that is. So I'm not gonna. I'm done. No, I'm done. This thing right here, this just didn't come around by coincidence, you know. Yeah. Who would be crazy enough to write a Bible called the Lobsterist? Only a complete insane madman would write something like this. And if you look at it, oh man, it's this nice little flip book, and it talks about it, and it says everything that happens, and it's all true. You can read through it, and you said to join a religion, so you might as well join the Lobsterist.
Okay, so again, this analogy isn't fitting the argument very well.
Well, obviously you didn't read the Lobsterist, otherwise you would understand the truth now. See, the Lobsterist has never been debunked. Nobody's ever debunked it. Nobody's even tried. And I can tell you haven't read it, because if you had read it, you'd be a Lobsterist. For those of you who have read it and understand why I'm saying what I'm saying, if you know, you know.
Your comparison is a 30-page book that's probably come around in your lifetime because you...
No. It says in the book that it's been around for a long time.
Probably wrote it to prove that the Bible was fake.
I wrote it? Ha! What? Me? I mean, I am pretty smart, but I don't know that I'm that smart. And to disprove the Bible? No, it doesn't disprove the Bible. It disproves all religion, including the Bible. So it does much more than what you're attributing to it. But remember, you said join a religion. Well, here you go. Here's a religion to join. Remember, you said join any religion. So then why is the Lobsterist not on your list of religions to join? Nothing bad about it. Everything is good. It's got plenty of good practices, unless what you're saying isn't quite true and hasn't really been thought out. And so it is a problem. But yeah, just
compared to a far longer ancient book that we have followed for generations and generations. Before they could print it, they used to have to handwrite the Bible word by word if they made it.
Okay, so this is an idea that has been taught as far as an idea of how the Bible got transmitted from one to the other. I don't know if it's actually correct or not. I don't know if it's actually true. I know that we think that it's true, but I don't know if it is actually true. So citation required.
This single mistake, they'd rip the page up. They spent years copying out these Bibles so people could...
Okay, ripping the page up, bad practice. Now you might say, well, why? I mean, if you make a mistake, isn't it better to rip it up and try again? Not necessarily, because the mistakes also give a credence to that you had multiple attempts to do this before you got it right. So then we'd have records that you did, in fact, try more than once. And also, well, what happens when somebody makes a mistake and that mistake gets through somehow? And they start to rip up other copies that don't have that mistake in them, believing that that mistake is correct. Then you have history being lost to time. So, not a good idea.
Read them. That's how much the Bible meant to these people, and that's how much they believed in it. The Bible is full of wisdom and is very intricately wrote. The reason I believe the Bible is proof for the existence of God is that it has been around and studied and followed and copied out for so long. And this...
Okay, so the reason that you believe in this particular thing is because it's been around for a while and it's been copied for a while? Does that make something true? That it's been around a long time? That it's been copied a lot? That a lot of people have followed it? Does that make something true? Or is it just that something is... Is that how you decide what is true? Hey, has it been around for a long time? Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, then I believe it. In that case, I guess we better get back to blood leeches, because that was around for a long time, and that's ancient. We believed it for a long time. A lot of people practice it. Right. So this is a bad reason to believe something is true, because it's been around a long time, because a lot of people followed it, because a lot of people copied it. Those are not good reasons to believe that something is true.
It was much closer to the time when Jesus would have lived. You're forgetting that these people also wouldn't have blindly followed their faith. They would have done it because everyone else did it. And do you know why everyone else did it? Because the generation before them did that. If you go back far enough, why did they start believing in the Bible and believing?
If you go back far enough, there isn't a Bible to believe in. And yes, they are doing it because other people do it, because we're social creatures and we want to be in groups. But this speaks to your not studying other religions, that you don't seem to know how religions form. And I mentioned in my comment, the Mormon faith doesn't take more than one person to make up a story. All it took was Joseph Smith, one guy, to completely make up a bullshit story, and he told one other guy, Oliver Cowdery, who I'm somehow related to. He told one other dude that story, and that guy believed him, and then that's it. That gets the ball rolling, and they got another believer in, and then another, and before you know it, you've got a lot of people who all believe this. It's not impossible to do. So there's nothing that suggests to me that somebody somewhere didn't just make up Jesus completely in full and just pretend that there was a guy Jesus. I have no reason to think that that's not the case. I have no reason to think that is the case either, but I don't know. I don't know. But I'm not impressed with, well, any religion, but this religion either. It's just a story as far as I can tell. That you believe it's more than a story, fine, but you need good reasons to do so. And the point of my last video and the point of this video is you don't have good reasons for your beliefs. And I hope that you see that now. Well, that's all I've got, because I don't want to go for an hour. So, that's it. And let's see if anyone in chat has anything to say to this guy. That anyone in chat want to say something to Harvey? No, you could just go to his video and post it on his video, of course. But in case somebody in chat wants their thing in chat to be seen on the screen, we can do that. Let's see. It's tempting to put that on screen, but I'm not sure about that. We'll give people a moment or two. Does anybody want to type out something specifically for Harvey Webb? If not, I'll assume that you'll do it on his channel, and we'll end this. We'll give you a few moments here. We'll play. What are we gonna do in the meantime? What can we do that's in the meantime? I know. I know what we can do in the meantime while we wait. Yeah, I know. This will do it. All right. We'll listen to this while I wait for somebody to type in chat some message to Harvey Webb. Yeah.
Catapult pancakes, lob dead me, syrup and butter, they are killing me. The castle destroyed by a yummy dessert. Who'd have thought it could do that much hurt? Oh, they are tossing and bringing hot cakes. They are bringing hot butter, hot syrup, just too much. Oh, strawberries, that's just plain obscene.
Launching this food is just kill the queen. I wrote this song.
It all started long ago, way back when we had a show, just a small play, you see. It wasn't really that funny.
Yes, if you copy The Lobsterist, and after thousands of years, and lots of people copy it, then I guess the lobsteress would be true. But yes, Lewis, that is not the sort of comment that I want. I guess I'll put it on screen, but I'm not going to read it. All right. Nobody wants to put a special mention for Harvey Webb. You all just, come on, people. Prove wrong. Yeah. If you know, you know. Yeah, that was a great. Okay. Well, all right. Enough of this. People are being silly, and I was hoping that somebody would have some message specifically for Harvey. But you all have the link to his channel or his video, and you can leave your comments about him. About his argument, not him. Attack the argument, not the person. And that's it for now. I don't think he has good reasons for believing in God. Maybe somebody somewhere does, but he didn't. So I hope he comes up with better reasons in the future. And until then, I guess my message would be to be skeptical. And then after the next time that you see me I want you to stay skeptical. So it's not like I want you to be skeptical for a limited amount of time. Basically, I want you to be skeptical all of the time. But don't be skeptical about being skeptical. So, and if you don't know how that works, watch my podcast thing that I did that's not a podcast called Not Suck. It explains everything, maybe. Goodbye! Lobsterist is the real religion. What's this guy say? It was crazy to hear. What? Yeah, I'm attributing it to sex as your own trade. Some arrogant. Sweet. Yeah. All right.